So 50 bucks and an hour and a half of labor, you just saved yourself. This would have been like $300 or $400 at the dealer. Hey YouTube, I'm going to show you a video today on how to change the brake pads on this Kia Soul. This is a 2010. These instructions should be good for 2008 through 2013. I don't know if the 2014 uses the same pads, rotors, etc. So I don't know. I can't tell you that specifically, but I do know it will fit these years. What tools you're going to need, what I used, is you need a 4-way to get your wheels off. If you don't have a 4-way, you can use the specific socket that fits those, or you can use the lug wrench that is in with the spare. We'll take those off. You will need a jack and 1 or 2 jack stands, depends on how you want to do it. I jacked it up and used 2. I jacked it up. If you look back behind the engine, you will see where the engine mounts back there to the subframe. I actually went back to the subframe back there. I know you can't see that on there. Back here, I went to right here and jacked it up. I've got it sitting right here, just basically it's like a 3rd jack stand. I put the jack stands, as you can see right there on the frame rails. I had them lined up, and as they come down, they shifted over. So if you notice, they're over just a little bit, but center them. It's actually a wider jack stand, but there's a little like plastic gasket right behind there. That's your jack and your jack stand. Also, you will need obviously brake pads. These are from Napa. I've already done the passenger side and the rears. Amazingly, the front and rear calipers have the same size mounting bolts and is a 14 millimeter. So you need a 14 millimeter ratchet, box end, ratcheting box end, whatever. 2 bolts, and then you will need either a C-clamp I used today, or the actual caliper tool. Me and Matt did a video where we compared them. He did one side, I did the other side. I just grabbed the C-clamp because it was laying there. That video will pop up here if you want to see the differences, how to use the other one. Today we're going to use a C-clamp. I also have a screwdriver that is to stick in behind very gently to pry the pads out with, and a mallet. The reason I have a mallet is that wheel, the other 3 have been stuck. Give a little tappy poo and it will come out. The reason I'm changing these pads today, this car only has like 23,000 miles on them, but these pads are super noisy, and on the rear they were wearing, instead of being the face of the pad being flush, it was angled. So like the top was wearing, but the bottom wasn't. So I don't know if it was the pad, if it was the rotor. The rotor seemed fine or what. So we've already got the car up in the air. We've got our jack stands placed. One thing you want to do before you get the car up in the air, break the lug nuts loose. If not, you'll have to hold the brake to get them broke loose. I've already broke them loose. So now I'm going to take the lug nuts off, wheel off, and then we'll start taking the caliper off. So I took my 4-way, took my 4 lug nuts off. In case you're wondering, on your 4-way it will be the 13/16, or if you have a socket, it will be a 21 millimeter socket. We'll take all these off. And one thing I like to do, ask anybody that's worked on cars for a while and they will tell you, I've kicked on, stepped. You'll set your lug nuts down and one of them will end up over there. You'll kick it, it'll roll, whatever. So what I do is when I put my 4-way down, I take them and put them like that inside of there. Or what else you can do is, I've seen people actually turn this over and put them inside of here, like in that little cup where your center cap's at. The reason I said to get them out, this wheel wasn't that bad, but in case it is stuck to the hub, what you can do is just, or tap it from the back, just go around, just ding, 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 and it will come loose. And once you get it loose, pull it out here, plop it down like that. Now you got a seat. So you have 2 bolts here, one right here, as you can see, and one right there. Okay. Now, if you want to take the whole caliper off with the bracket, there'll be 2 bigger nuts right there, or bigger bolts. Those are a 19, I do believe. 17. Those are 17s, okay? That's if you need to take the bracket off. Some people take the whole bracket off. I just take the caliper off. If you need to replace the rotor, you can take those 2 loose, pull that off, swap the rotor. And once again, if the rotor's stuck, tink, 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 it'll come loose, okay? All we're doing today is what's called a pad slap. Something I do recommend is cleaning the rotor. The video will pop up here how to, the proper way to do that. It will blow your mind what the right way to do that is. It really surprised me, but just watch that video. It's easy, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do, 19 millimeter on a ratchet, box end, whatever. Okay, make sure we're going the right way here. Yeah. Okay. Like that. 1, 2. Broke loose. Really simple. Okay, 1 bolt. We'll put it in the box. 2 bolt. Put it in the box. Pull your caliper loose. Now this is the time too, if it's stuck, if it's seized on, whatever, you can take your flathead and very easily go in like right here. Just kind of pry up a little bit, or pry right here, or like right here, wherever you feel most comfortable, and it will start coming loose. So just kind of work it out. Sometimes you can just grab it and muscle it out. Get Johnny Bravo on it. Just don't mess up your hair. Okay, and then what I do is I take the caliper, set it right here. Okay, because that way it won't move. Do not let it hang. Do not just let it fall. If you've got to take it and set it on here, how it's open, you can just set it across there, but just do not let it hang by this, because I've seen these actually pull loose from here, because it goes to a hard line on here. I've seen it pull loose from here. I've seen it snap, whatever. Just put it right here. Okay, just set her right there. She'll sit right there. Okay, and you can take your flathead very gently. Don't go this way, because then you can gouge your rotor. Go in flush. If it, as you see, I hope you can see that there's a little gap right here. Just boop, and once you get it done, come out to the middle part, boop, and just keep working your way down, and eventually come out. Back side, same thing. Go in your little gap, go to the middle, boom, out. Now pay attention, because these pads are different. You have an inner and an outer. You may be saying, well, what's different? Well, if you look at new pads, you have this, what is called a screamer bar. The point of these is, as this wears, this will get down. As it gets thin enough, this will start hitting on the rotor, and it'll actually, you can hear it screaming, like squealing. It's where metal on metal. That's to let you know, hey, your pads are worn out. And if you let go long enough, this will start grooving your rotor, and you'll have to replace the rotor too. So always listen for your screamer bar. Like I said, these aren't that bad. They're not really that bad. It seems like the face of them is really rough. This one has, I don't know if it's where I dropped it or what. The fronts aren't as bad, but I went ahead and replaced them anyways, because if they're wearing like the back. So, okay, so new pads are just like the old ones. Outside, inside, okay? If you look, got this little groove right here and a little groove right there. So what you want to do, you'll see it will just fit right in there. Okay, put this in there. Okay, get it good and centered. Okay, okay. I'm gonna sit you all down. So I'll do this one-handed. Okay. Sometimes what happens is these little metal shims will get a little deformed, and then it will be hard to pull, get them to go over. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you understand what I'm saying. It is not wanting to go. The other side, I was done in like 5 minutes. So what we're gonna do here, here's a little wacky poo. Why is this not? This little metal tab on the bottom is bent out. It's causing this to not want to line up. It's not wanting to go on there. See if the inside goes. Okay. Boom. Inside went in perfect. The problem is this is deformed a little bit, and it's not letting it go in. If I bend this, see, it's, I'm gonna fight with it for a minute, but the inside's in. Okay, make sure the inside has your screamer bar. Like I said, these little grooves, these little tabs. So I'm gonna fight with this for a minute. It's acting like it just does not want to line up. Come on. There we go. Well, the front went in. The problem is it's catching on the bottom. Can't get it like undeformed. So I'm gonna take my flathead, pull this down. There it is. All right, the problem, guys, This piece right here was bent up. So what I had to do was take my screwdriver and bend it down. It popped right in. That's all there is to it. So, now, here's something I'm not going to do today. This car only has 28,000 miles on it. These sliders right here, as you can see, go in and out. Move very freely. They have these boots on them. If this was like an 80,000 mile brake change or 110,000 mile brake change, you would pull these out, boot and all, make sure you don't rip the boot. You can either replace them, reuse these, whatever. And then buy the registers at AutoZone Advance. You'll get these little packages of grease, okay? If you buy really good brakes like Power Stop, like these, they'll come with them. What you do is you just grease that up. What I normally do is I will put some on, pull the guide pin out, grease the guide pin, and squirt some down this chamber. That way as you put it in, you can kind of work it around and get it done. But these are still good. This only got 28,000 miles on it. Like I said, I only changed the pads because of the noise and they're wearing uneven. So this is still good, so I'm not going to worry about taking them apart and greasing them. But if this was a higher mileage vehicle, I would. As you can see in the video that will pop up here, I did brakes on a Mustang, and it literally was, I had to replace a bracket because it was seized. Yeah. As a matter of fact, on this bracket, you can see those sliders. I have that receipt for my core fee, it's $6. Were seized. As you can see how rusty that was. There's no movement on that. I had to hit it with a mallet just to get it in enough to get it out. As you can see, there's no, had to replace the whole bracket and the sliders. That was like 30-40 bucks. All because somebody didn't put a dollar grease on it. So put that in there. Pick this up. What's this? AutoZone Rewards. Oh. Okay. So we've got the pads in. So now we're going to take one of our old pads here. Okay, I'll set y'all down for a sec. So now all you have to do is compress your caliper. And the reason you have to do that is this normally will not fit over that, okay? Because as the pads wear, this piston in here has like a memory. It comes out so far and stops, comes out so far, stops. It never goes all the way back in, okay? Because if it did, the pads would rattle around. So now we have to push this in somehow with either the caliper press or a C-clamp. So what I want to do, I know it's really hard to do, take your old pad, put across here, okay? Take your C-clamp, take your clamp. If you don't have a C-clamp, they are like, I think they're like $1.99, Pittsburgh, Harbor Freight, Walmart, whatever. Make sure you get a metal one. You don't get a plastic one. What the hell? Alright. So you go across here. Okay. It's really hard to, it's like one of them things where it's not hard to do, but it's just hard to get everything lined up. What you do is you put your clamp on the back, run it in, put your pad here, like this. Okay. We'll just compress it in until it gets flush. You can go too far in. I have heard of people going too far in with the piston. Okay, so you just compress it. That's all you got to do is just compress it. And sometimes you can compress it a little, sometimes you can compress it a lot. Just literally take your C-clamp and your old pad and just start compressing it. If you want to try and compress it a little bit, test it, compress it, test it a little bit. It's up to you however you want to do it. So, once it will fit over there. Nope, not enough yet. I've also seen people, supposedly you can take a pry tool in here. I've heard people say you can take a pry tool in this little slot and pry it back, but I've never got that to work. I've seen people do it on TikTok, but I don't know how they're doing it. So, that may be something to experiment with. Just take your C-clamp, start compressing. Now, something to look out for is sometimes as you do this, I have actually had the, as you're pushing this back, obviously you're going to be putting fluid back into the reservoir out of the lines. I have seen the reservoir overflow. Okay, so now as you can see, we're flush. I've compressed it enough that it's flush. So now, if we take this, okay, we'll slide over it. Boom, look at that. Okay, so now take your 2 bolts, you put in your box. Okay. And the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Get them lined up here. Okay. And do not, what I always do is get them hand tight. You don't want to tighten one too tight in the other, because sometimes it will make it like torque weird. And when I say torque, I don't mean like foot-pounds. I mean like if you tighten this one all the way down, it could make it like up or odd or whatever. Okay, so get them tightened. Okay, and then tighten them down. In between slots here. Come on. Okay, I was in between positions on the ratchet there. Okay, something else to notice here too is sometimes when you take these loose, if you have a hard time, or if the slide bolt starts spinning, they do have like a hex head on them, so you can put a wrench or a set of channel locks or something on them and hold them while you break this loose. So this is a good time if you want to torque them down. I don't torque mine down, I just get them tight, because normally I'm the one that works on them. Okay, I go back and forth a couple of times just to get them tight. Okay, and that's it. I did one, literally in that little bit of time, I did 1 set of pads. So, and literally, like I said, if you can do this, you can do the other side and the back. Now, if you're going to do the back, I recommend the back's a little bit easier, because you can go where these have a solid axle in the back. I know it's not solid axle, but solid beam. You can lift up by that beam and then put your jack stands up on the unibody frame. Again, you can go to, I went to right here, right in front of this bolt. You can see right there. That's where I went to. You could do, if you were hustling, you could do this whole car in probably an hour, hour and a half, and it would be like 5 more minutes to change the rotors. So this is like an hour and a half job, and this would be like a $300 job at the dealer. So what I'm going to do now, put the wheel back on, tighten it down, drive it up down the road, and go from there. I got the wheel back on, got it back on the ground. What I'm going to do is take my 4-way here, tighten everything down. Once again, this will be not a good time to knock you over, but a good time to torque everything. What I'm going to do tomorrow is actually, when I return this car, I'm going to right by the shop at work and just have the guys torque it for me. Sorry, my shoe's in the way. I had to switch cameras, guys. My tripod's on the other one, so I apologize if this is not the best view. Alright. Got them all tightened down. Okay, I'm going to check all 4 of them, and we'll go from there. Went through, tightened all 4 of them down. What I'm going to do now, left my 4-way right there. I hope I got the right key, not the infinity key. Is take it up down the road. Get in. First thing you do when you get in is pump your brakes. I have literally done this and went to pull out to the road and forgot and pushed the brakes all the way in. Okay, so what I'm going to do, make sure the pads are seated. This is how they tell you to do it. Power Stop tells you to do this, and it's the best way I found. Yes, you will smell new brakes first. Ooh, I can already tell a big difference with those in terms of noise and stopping power. I can tell a huge difference. So what it tells you to do is, it says do different, people will tell you different things. So what you want to do here, get what I do is I get up to like 10 miles an hour or 10 or 20, and then do a slow gradual stop, but don't come to a complete stop, and then get up to 20, 25, get up to 30, do it again. Okay, come to almost a complete stop. Okay, go down here, we'll get up to like 40. Okay, then come to a slow gradual stop. What you're doing is you're seating those pads in. If they've got any coating on them or any dirt or anything like that, it's getting them off. Okay. This also kind of heat cycles them, everything. It's just good to do. So what I'm going to do now, stop again. I'm literally going to square the block. Okay. We'll go down here to this four-way. Ooh, we got a limo up there. 30. Gonna do a gradual stop, signal, signal. This block will be up to about 40. Whee! Wide open. Gonna do a gradual stop. Okay. Back this way. Always make sure there's nobody behind you too. Okay, get up to about 35 again. Stop. Signal. Signal. Get up to about 30. Stop. God, I can tell a huge difference with these new pads. Okay, and then we'll pull the car back in the driveway. Do a complete stop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out and check the lug nuts again. And that's it. We just replaced the brake pads. Sweet. This car definitely needs an alignment. All right. That's all there is, everybody. You just change your brake pads. And you can do it in like an hour, hour and a half. It's that easy. And those pads cost like $55 for front and rear. So 50 bucks and an hour and a half of labor, you just saved yourself. This would have been like $300 or $400 at the dealer. So this is an easy job you can do.